Every crochet project has a story, and this one began when Elle Yarns invited me to collaborate using their Merino DK yarn. I wanted to create a project that was practical, wearable, and suitable for beginner to intermediate crocheters. After experimenting with a few ideas, I chose a rectangular corner-to-corner cowl with a simple single crochet border. The yarn was incredibly smooth to work with, so I tried a few different crochet hooks before settling on my 4mm blue crochet hook, which felt the most comfortable for me. In this tutorial, I'll show you everything from the materials you'll need to crocheting the cowl, adding the border, blocking the finished piece, and sharing my honest thoughts on the yarn. So grab your yarn and hook and let's get started. Hello everyone, my name is Amy and I'm from Lady Grey Crochet. I've just received a parcel from Saprotex, so I'm going to go through to my workstation and open it up and see what I've received. Alright, so let's open up this parcel and see what's inside. I'm just going to cut into this very carefully and show you guys what's inside. Alright, wow, and isn't that lovely? So here I have the Merino DK yarn. So I've got one of the silver, as you can see here, and I've got 10 of the sage. And isn't it lovely, guys? Look how that color picks up on camera. So this is the silver and this is the sage. I mean, it is so soft and almost sort of like silky in a way. And the colors are amazing. Charity DK is a yarn that many South African crocheters will already know. It's budget friendly, durable, widely available, and comes in a great range of solid and variegated colors. It has a soft feel with a little more structure, making it a versatile choice for everyday crochet projects. Both yarns have their own strengths, and the best choice really depends on the type of project that you are making. But it also depends on your budget. Happy stitching! Let's start by taking a closer look at the Elle Merino DK yarn label. The first thing you'll notice is that this is double knit or DK weight yarn made from 100% superwash merino wool. Each ball weighs 50 grams and contains approximately 100 meters of yarn. The label also recommends using a 4mm crochet hook. You'll also find the recommended tension along with the care instructions, which are important to follow to help your finished project look its best. Finally, remember to check the dye lot if you're buying more than one ball. Using the same dye lot helps ensure the color remains consistent throughout your project. Let's take a closer look at the Charity Double Knit yarn label. This yarn is made from 100% acrylic, making it a practical choice for projects that you want to be durable and easy to care for. Each ball weighs 100 grams and contains approximately 233 meters of yarn, giving you plenty of yardage for a variety of crochet projects. The recommended hook size is 4mm. The tension is 20 stitches by 28 rows over a 10 by 10 centimeter square. As with any project, it's always a good idea to check the yarn label before you begin, as it contains useful information about the yarn, recommended hook sizes, and care instructions. Now that both yarns have been worked up, let's compare the swatches. Let's start with the Elle Charity DK. As you can see, it produces a slightly firmer fabric with clear stitch definition. It's a versatile, everyday yarn that's budget-friendly and available in a wide range of solid and variegated colors, making it suitable for all kinds of crochet projects. Now let's look at the Merino DK. Although it's also a double knit yarn, you can see the difference in the finished fabric. The Merino creates a beautifully soft fabric with excellent stitch definition and a lovely drape. It also feels smoother and softer to the touch, making it a wonderful choice for garments and accessories worn close to the skin. Both yarns work up beautifully, and the best choice depends on the type of project you're making and your budget. For this project, I used 7 50-gram balls of the Elle Merino DK in sage for the main body of the cowl, together with 1 50-gram ball of silver for the border. If you'd like to make the same project using Elle Charity DK, you'll need approximately 4 100-gram balls for the main body and 1 100-gram ball in a complementary color for the border. As always, it's worth picking up an extra ball if you're planning to make the cowl longer or wider, or if your tension differs from mine. Let's look at the tools that you'll need for this project. You'll need a pair of scissors, a 4mm crochet hook, a darning needle for weaving in the ends, a few stitch markers if you'd like to keep track of your rows, and a tape measure to check the size of the cowl as you go. Having everything ready before you begin will make the project much more enjoyable. And now it's time to begin crocheting. Begin by holding the yarn in your hand like this. Then fold over a small section of the yarn to form a loop, as shown here. Next, wrap the yarn around and pull a loop through the one beneath. This forms your slip knot. Insert your hook and pull on the yarn to fasten. Now, chain 6. Remember that the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch. But first, we will count to the 4th chain space, yarn over, insert your hook into that chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's another double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is the first block. Well done, guys. This is where you can see that skipping the first 4 chains has formed its own double crochet, and we have 4 in total. Okay, so we're going to start with a second block. Yarn over, and then we are going to chain 6. This will form the second row of our corner to corner piece. We're counting the 4th chain down from the hook, yarn over, and insert into that 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and you're inserting your hook for that 4th stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so then you'll have 2 blocks just like this. And turn it around so it is facing in a different direction from the block that you've just made. And in that top of that chain 3 space, as you can see here, there'll be space to put your hook. So you put your hook in, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the first one. So that is a slip stitch. And then you chain 3, yarn over, insert hook into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there you'll see you have your 2nd row. Congrats, guys. It's looking good so far. As you continue crocheting, you may reach the end of your current ball. When this happens, simply join your new yarn ball using your preferred joining method, making sure the join is secure before continuing. Once you've joined the new ball, continue working the pattern exactly as before. Continue increasing your work until it measures 40 centimeters. Your work should now measure approximately 40 centimeters across at its widest point and have the shape of a triangle. From this point onwards, we no longer want the cowl to become any wider. Instead, we'll keep the width the same while continuing to increase the length. At this point, I'm nearing the end of the current row. I've already worked across the row and I'm now completing the final 2 blocks. As you reach the final chain 3 space, I'll decrease by working a slip stitch into the space without creating another corner block. This completes the row. Turn your work. To begin the new row, slip stitch across the tops of the 3 double crochet stitches to reach the chain 3 space. Work 1 more slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Chain 3 and then work 3 double crochets into the same chain 3 space to create your first block of the new row. Continue working across the row as before, repeating these steps until you once again reach the end of the row. Once your cowl measures approximately 90 centimeters in length, it's time to begin the final decrease section. At this stage, your cowl should have maintained its rectangular shape throughout the middle section. We'll now decrease on both sides of each row to shape the second end of the cowl so that it mirrors the first. Complete your final middle section row and turn your work. Begin by working a slip stitch across the top of the 3 double crochets from the last block that you made. Next, work a slip stitch into the chain 3 space of that same block. This positions your work in the correct place to begin the next block without creating an additional corner block. Chain 3, then work 3 double crochets into that same chain 3 space. Join to the next block by working a slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Continue across the row by repeating this sequence. Chain 3, work 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space, then join to the next chain 3 space with a slip stitch. When you reach the final chain 3 space of the row, do not work another block. Instead, work a slip stitch into the final chain 3 space to secure your row. Turn your work and repeat these steps for every remaining row. Because you're decreasing at both the beginning and the end of each row, your work will gradually become smaller as one block is removed with each row. Continue until only a single corner-to-corner block remains. Fasten off your yarn, leaving a tail long enough to weave in the end securely. The main body of your crochet corner-to-corner cowl is now complete. In the next section, we'll join the short ends to form the cowl before adding the border. Before blocking the finished cowl, I wanted to show you how 2 different yarns respond to the process. To prepare the swatches, I followed the care instructions on each yarn label. I hand washed both the Elle Merino DK and the Charity double knit swatches together in lukewarm water using a mild detergent. Once they were clean, I rinsed them thoroughly in clean water to remove any remaining detergent. After rinsing, I gently squeezed out the excess water without wringing or twisting the fabric, as this can stretch and distort the stitches. I then rolled each swatch in a clean towel to absorb as much moisture as possible before blocking. Here I have the 2 swatches worked using the same stitch pattern, one made with merino and the other with the Charity double knit. I placed both swatches onto a blocking board and used blocking rods to keep the edges straight while they dried, helping each swatch dry in its intended shape. Although both yarns benefit from blocking, the merino relaxes more noticeably, creating a softer fabric with a beautiful drape. The Charity double knit also benefits with neater stitches and a more even finished polish. I followed the same process for the finished cowl, allowing it to dry completely before removing it from the blocking board. Blocking is optional, but it's a step I recommend for polished finish and beautifully defined stitches. For joining the 2 ends of the cowl, I'll be using a slip stitch join. The joining method creates a neat, almost invisible seam while maintaining flexibility. To begin, lay your cowl flat with the right side facing up. Fold it in half so that the 2 short ends meet, with the right sides facing each other. Take a moment to make sure the stitches are evenly aligned from top to bottom. Next, position your work so that the yarn tail from fastening off the main body is on the left-hand side. This will ensure you're starting the join from the same position that I'm demonstrating. Using the same method as before, attach your yarn by making a loop, placing it onto your hook and gently tightening it. With your yarn now secured to the hook, insert your hook through the space between the corresponding blocks on both pieces. Yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook to complete a slip stitch. Chain 2. Continue repeating this pattern across the seam. Slip stitch through the space between the corresponding blocks on both pieces and then chain 2. Repeat these 2 steps until you reach the end of the seam, making sure the pieces remain aligned and avoid pulling the slip stitches too tightly. This creates a neat, flexible seam. Continue this pattern until you've reached the end of the join. With the join now complete, it's time to fasten off and weave in the loose ends. To fasten off, cut your yarn, leaving a tail long enough to weave in securely. Pull the yarn tail completely through the loop on your hook, then gently pull to tighten and secure the stitch. Thread the yarn tail onto a darning needle and insert the needle into the back of the stitches as demonstrated, following the natural path of the fabric. Weave the yarn through several stitches, then reverse your direction and weave back through a few stitches to help secure the end. Once you're satisfied with that the yarn tail is secure, trim away any excess yarn. Repeat this process for any remaining yarn tails. And with all the ends now woven in, we're ready for the next step. Now it's time to add the border. For this project, I'll be using a single crochet border worked in the silver yarn. We'll begin at the join. Insert your hook into the work where you'd like to start. Using the same method as demonstrated earlier, make a loop with your yarn, place it onto your hook and gently tighten to secure it. Next, pull the loop through the work. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Then chain 1 to secure your yarn and begin the border. To make the first single crochet, insert your hook into the top of the next stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You should now have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over once more and pull through both loops to complete the single crochet. Continue working your single crochet stitches into the tops of the stitches as you make your way around the cowl. Along the vertical blocks, I worked 3 single crochet stitches into the tops of the stitches on each block. Along the horizontal blocks, I worked 2 single crochet stitches into the tops of the stitches on each block. This helped create an even border that sits neatly around the edge of the cowl. As you continue round, try to keep your stitch tension as even as possible. This will help your border lie flat and give your finished cowl a clean, polished look. Continue repeating this pattern all the way around until you reach the point where you began. Congratulations, you have now completed your rectangular C2C cowl project. I truly hope that you've enjoyed crocheting along with me, and I hope that this tutorial has given you the confidence to try rectangular C2C crochet in any of your future projects. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Lady Grey Crochet for more crochet tutorials, reviews, and yarn stop adventures. I'd love to see your finished cowls, so if you share them on social media, don't forget to tag Lady Grey Crochet so that I can admire your beautiful creations. I'd also like to give a heartfelt thank you to Saprotex International, otherwise known as Elle Yarns, providing the beautiful Elle Merino DK yarn for this project. Thank you for the opportunity of being able to make this project and to share it with the crochet community. Thank you so much for watching and crocheting along with me. Until next time, take care, happy crocheting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!